He thought she was the perfect target, a quiet 13-year-old girl from a town where people still left their doors unlocked. He slaughtered her parents and vanished with her into the night, convinced his plan was flawless. But he made one fatal miscalculation. He never imagined that his perfect victim was about to orchestrate the most daring escape of her life. It all began with a single glance. A 21-year-old man, a failure seething with rage, was stopped behind a school bus on his way to a dead-end job. He watched a young girl get on, smiling, just another face in the crowd. In that instant, something twisted in his mind. With terrifying certainty, he decided she would be his. That moment ignited a meticulous, evil plan. He stole license plates. He modified his car to become a ghost on the road. He took his father's shotgun, believing it was untraceable. Twice he drove to her family's home, but his courage failed him. On the third attempt, on the cold night of October 15th, 2018, he would not be stopped. He thought he had every angle covered, but he had overlooked the one thing he couldn't control, the spirit of the girl he was about to take. Her name was Jayme Closs, and this is the story of how she defeated a monster, not with a weapon, but with a will to live he was too arrogant to see. Welcome to Secrets in the Shadows, where the darkest truths refuse to stay buried. Subscribe and step into the shadows, because the truth is never as far away as it seems. Every like, every comment, every subscriber helps us shine a light on the forgotten. It keeps these stories alive. It brings awareness to cases that should never be ignored, and it motivates us to keep digging, to keep asking questions, until the shadows give up their secrets. Jayme Lynn Closs, born July 13th, 2005, lived a life of quiet joy in Barron, Wisconsin. In a small town built on trust, she was known for her sweet nature and her love of dance. Her world was her family, her friends, and the simple rhythm of 8th grade at Riverview Middle School. Her parents, James and Denise, were the heart of that world. James, 56, was a dedicated employee at the Jenny O turkey plant. Denise, 46, was known for her radiant kindness. For them, Jayme was everything. Their life was simple, happy, and ordinary, the kind of life no one imagines could be shattered in an instant. But one night, it was, and the world would soon learn Jayme's name, not as a tragic victim, but as a symbol of resilience. At the same time, 21-year-old Jake Patterson was a man going nowhere. Discharged from the Marines after just 1 month for being fundamentally unfit, he was aimless and adrift. His dark obsession began on his way to a cheese factory, a job he would only last 2 days in. Stopped behind Jayme's school bus, he saw her, and a chilling thought took root. He later confessed to police, "I knew that was the girl I was going to take." His motive was as simple as it was monstrous. He decided he wanted a girl, and so he would take one. He planned the abduction with cold precision. He shaved his head to avoid leaving DNA. He swapped his car's license plates. He chose a common 12-gauge shotgun from his father's collection, convinced it would be a dead end for investigators. Twice, he stalked the Closs home, but both times he fled when he saw lights on, fearing witnesses. His obsession, however, was stronger than his fear. The third time, he would not turn back. Just before 1 a.m. on October 15th, 2018, the Closs family dog began barking frantically. It was the only warning Jayme would get. Peeking outside, she saw a strange car slide into the driveway, its headlights cut. She ran, waking her parents. Her father, James, went to the front door. Through the window, he saw a figure cloaked in black, raising a shotgun. The next moments were a blur of unimaginable violence. As James stood at the door, a final, desperate shield for his family. Patterson fired a single deafening shot through the wood, killing him where he stood. The blast echoed through the house. Denise Kloss grabbed Jayme, and they raced for the bathroom, locking the door and frantically dialing 911. The dispatcher heard only shouting and chaos before the line went dead. Crouched in the bathtub, mother and daughter listened as Patterson threw his body against the door, again and again, until the frame splintered. The door didn't just open, it exploded inward. The masked figure ordered Denise to tape her daughter's mouth. Through tears, she complied. He then bound Jayme's hands and feet. And as Jayme watched, helpless, he raised the shotgun and murdered her mother. In less than 4 minutes, Jayme's world had been systematically erased. Patterson dragged the 13-year-old from her home, past the body of her father, and stuffed her into the trunk of his car. As he sped away, he calmly pulled over for police cars, their sirens screaming as they raced toward the very horror he had just unleashed. They arrived just 4 minutes after the 911 call. They were too late. Jayme Kloss was gone. The scene was one of utter devastation. James Kloss lay dead at the front door. Denise was in the bathroom. But of Jayme, there was no sign. An Amber Alert triggered one of the largest searches in Wisconsin's history. But as days turned into weeks and weeks into months, the hope that had burned so brightly across the nation began to dim. While a nation searched, Jayme Kloss was imprisoned in a living nightmare just 70 miles from her home. Her world had shrunk to a cluttered cabin in the isolated woods of Gordon, Wisconsin, a place so remote no one could possibly hear her scream. Upon arrival, Patterson forced her to change into his sister's pajamas and burn the clothes she was wearing, methodically destroying every last piece of her old life. For the next 88 days, her prison was a tiny space under his bed, no bigger than a coffin. Patterson's control was absolute. He barricaded her beneath the bed with heavy plastic totes filled with barbell weights, entombing her for up to 12 hours at a time without food, water, or a bathroom. He warned her that if she even tried to move a bin, he would know, and that bad things would happen. His paranoia dictated her existence. If visitors came, even his own father, she was forced into her tomb. If he left the house, she was forced into her tomb. He would blast the radio to drown out any sound she might make. He was so confident in the terror he'd inspired that he told police he never used special locks because he was certain she wouldn't escape. He subjected her to relentless psychological torture, threatening that terrible things would happen if she ever made him angry. Once, he struck her hard across the back with a curtain rod. Utterly cut off from the world that was desperately searching for her, she had no idea if she would live another day or if he would murder her just as he had her parents. But in that suffocating darkness, something inside Jayme refused to break. She entered what she later called survival mode. She endured, she obeyed, and she watched. She learned his habits, his schedule, his patterns. She was a silent observer, absorbing every detail, waiting for the one sliver of an opportunity she knew she had to seize. Her captor saw a broken, compliant victim. He never realized he was staring at a survivor, quietly planning her war. Jayme Kloss proved that courage isn't about being fearless, but about taking action despite the fear. Her resilience is a story that deserves to be discussed. What does a story like this teach us about the power of the human spirit? Share your thoughts in the comments below. January 10th, 2019, day 88. That morning, Jake Patterson announced he would be gone for 5 or 6 hours. As always, he forced Jayme under the bed and blocked her in with the weighted bins. Then he left. For 88 days, terror had kept her paralyzed. But on this day, something shifted. This was the longest he had ever said he would be gone. This was her chance. With a surge of pure adrenaline, Jayme began to fight back. She threw her entire body against the heavy totes meant to entomb her. Fueled by a desperate primal need to live, she pushed and shoved until she'd finally created enough space to crawl out. She was free from the bed, but not from the house. Scrambling to her feet, she saw she had no time to find a coat for the brutal Wisconsin cold. She saw Patterson's sneakers, jammed her feet into the oversized shoes, and ran for her life. She exploded out of the cabin door and into the frigid air, wearing only a thin shirt and leggings in the deep snow. She had no idea where she was or which way to go. She just ran. Then, through the trees, she saw a figure, a woman walking her dog. John Nutter, a retired social worker, saw a frantic, thin girl stumbling toward her, pleading, "I'm lost. I don't know where I am." John recognized her instantly. It was the face from the news, from the billboards. It was Jayme Closs. Staying calm, Jean wrapped the girl in her arms. Jayme's words tumbled out in a rush. "He killed my parents. Please help. I want to go home." Jean knew they were on borrowed time. She rushed her to the nearest house, belonging to Kristen and Peter Kacinskas. They opened their door to the sight of Jean and the terrified girl. "This is Jayme Closs," Jean yelled. "Call 911. Wrapped in a warm blanket, she was finally safe. When the 911 operator asked for a description of her captor, Jayme was astonishingly clear. She gave them his name, Jake Patterson, described his car, and warned them he would soon be out looking for her. That information was blasted over the police radio. Just minutes later, a deputy spotted Patterson's car, exactly as Jayme had predicted, cruising the area, hunting for his escaped captive. When pulled over, Patterson folded instantly. "I did it," he said. After 88 days of darkness, Jayme Closs had orchestrated her own rescue. The search was over. Jake Patterson's arrest sent a tidal wave of relief across the country. He confessed to everything, recounting the murders and the kidnapping with a disturbing, robotic detachment. He was charged with 2 counts of first-degree intentional homicide, kidnapping, and armed burglary. His bail was set at $5 million. To spare Jayme the agony of a trial, Patterson pleaded guilty in March 2019. From his jail cell, he sent a rambling, self-pitying letter attempting to feign remorse, but it was seen for what it was, a pathetic ploy for a lighter sentence. The prosecutor put it plainly, calling him a cold-blooded killer who was only sorry he got caught. On May 24th, 2019, Jake Patterson faced his sentencing. Jayme did not attend, but she sent a victim impact statement read by her family's attorney that stunned the courtroom into silence. "He thought he could own me, but he was wrong," the statement read. "I was smarter. I watched his routine, and I took back my freedom. I will always have my freedom, and he will not." She wrote about the profound loss of her parents and the fear that still lingered, but her voice was one of triumph, not defeat. "He can't ever change me or take away who I am," she declared. "He can't stop me from being happy and moving forward with my life. Jake Patterson will never have any power over me." Her request to the judge was simple. He should stay locked up forever. The judge agreed. Calling Patterson the embodiment of evil, he handed down 2 life sentences without the possibility of parole, plus an additional 40 years for the kidnapping. Justice was served. After her ordeal, the same community that had searched for Jayme now rallied to support her. A fund was raised over $50,000 for her future. She went to live with her aunt and uncle, enveloped by the family that loved her. Her aunt described her recovery as a path of baby steps, as Jayme forged a new normal in a world that had been brutally remade. For 88 days, a monster tried to extinguish a young girl's light, to erase her, to own her. He believed that by destroying her family and her home, he could crush her spirit. But he fundamentally failed to understand the quiet strength, the sharp mind, and the unbreakable will of Jayme Closs. In her powerful court statement, she delivered the ultimate truth. "I was brave, and he was not." Those words are the heart of this entire story. This isn't just the tale of a monster. It is a story of a hero who, at just 13 years old, looked pure evil in the eye and refused to blink. Today, Jayme Closs continues to heal, held up by her family and her community. She took her life back with the same courage she used to seize her freedom on that freezing January day. Her story is a searing testament to the power of hope and the resilience of the human spirit. Jake Patterson may have taken her parents, but as Jayme made clear to the world, he could never take her freedom, and he could never, ever take her courage. If this story stayed with you, subscribe and share it. It's not just support, it's awareness. And that awareness could be the spark that brings justice. Until next time, stay curious, stay vigilant, and never stop looking into the shadows.